think the middle position might be the most universally friendly setting on here. This is the Univox Hi-Flier from Eastwood, which is a slight modernization of the Univox Hi-Flier original, which was discontinued in the early 80s. Eastwood brought it back a few years ago, and now I've got one to review for you in this video. Slight warning, there are going to be lots of Nirvana riffs in this video, because when I look at this, I think Kurt Cobain, and I think early days Nirvana and the heart-shaped box video, which is where you might have seen this white model. And before we continue, they're also available in 3 other colors, but this was the one I wanted to show you because I think it's the most beautiful. Slightly just ahead of the sunburst or tobacco burst one, which I think is great. The Univox Hi-Flier has a basswood or basswood body with a maple neck and glued-on maple fretboard. We've also got some Phase 4 open humbuckers, which are super punchy, and they've got lots of high end, and I'll show you how that sounds in a little bit. We've got a 3-way switch, a volume, and a tone. It's a bolt-on neck, and what is super weird about it is the way the headstock is parallel with the fretboard, but it's slightly underneath the fretboard. And you've got this string tensioning bar here to make sure that you get some tension over the nut. The bridge is a wraparound and then also intonatable bridge. And out of the box, this thing was set up almost perfectly. I just had to move that bridge that way a little bit with a screwdriver, and then also I had to lube up that string tensioner because it was causing some popping behind this tensioner. But we'll go into the review part later. I want to show you how it sounds, and not just through a Boss DS1. I will be using the Fender Deluxe Reverb in this, though. One of my favorite things about this guitar so far is the tuning stability. And just a little bit of insight. This isn't an out-of-the-box review. I've been playing this for quite some time in my personal time, but I've changed nothing. Anyway, back to the tuning. It is really good at staying in tune once I'd lubed up that string retainer bar, I think it's called. That's what I'm calling it. Right, let's do it clean. First on the bridge pickup, then middle position, and then neck pickup. Everything's wide open here, by the way, and it sounds like this. It's super punchy in the bridge. I really dig that. It's punchy and it's dynamic, but it doesn't quite take your face off. Let's try the middle position. That's great. That's bringing back a bit of mellowness and just taming those highs. It is probably worth mentioning that the bridge pickup is much higher than the neck pickup, and it is closer to the strings. But so far, I think it sounds absolutely great. So let's do neck pickup, everything wide open still. And that doesn't have too much bass in it, but brings back, this feels like home in this guitar. This feels like the sort of tone that it should have. I never thought I'd be playing that on a Kurt Cobain guitar. It feels like it should be there, and then you go into the bridge pickup for like super throttle mode. That might bite your face off, sorry, but it sounds so good with distortion. So that's the clean stuff, and I'm happy that it does like, let's do it. Okay, it kind of loses some of that clarity on open chords in the clean on that neck pickup, but the middle might be the best setting. Yeah, that's like a best of both worlds. I guess that's the definition of a middle position, right? But some guitars don't do it well. This one does it well. Let's talk pricing before we go to distortion. It's about $699, I believe, pre-ordered on the Eastwood website, and that's the only place you can buy them. So hopefully you're looking at this video considering buying one, and I will help you make a purchasing decision. And you can't try them out in shops, which is a bit of a bummer, but it does mean that price is brought down, and we'll talk about that and how I feel about it at the end of the video. Let's get that Boss DS1 pumping. It just makes me want to play Bleach, the album, the whole way through. It came out of the box well intonated. You can really hear it on that low E. Maybe hit it on the bridge. Now, this is based on the Phase 4 Univox Hi-Flier, so you don't have the whammy bar, which I'm glad of because I would definitely be pulling that all over the place and pinging it and doing all sorts of noises. You can get some cool noises behind the nut. If I put on my big muff, they should be, oh, yeah, hear this. I used to be a bit of an expert on Nirvana and stuff like that, but since the internet came around, I found out I know nothing. But some of these sounds do sound like some of the sort of backgroundy noises that Kurt used to do. Yeah, and he's the reason I play guitar, by the way, so that's why I'm focusing on him in this video. It doesn't just do Nirvana, though. It does, obviously, other stuff. But I want to just show you, before I skip out of this DS1 mode, this versus, say, the Fender Kurt Cobain Jaguar, because they do sound immensely different. So we'll just edit between this guitar and the other guitar, and I'll show you what it sounds like. Now, this is one of my favorite guitars just because of the super distortions and the way it feels, although it is a bit heavy, and it is very different to this. Not that I'm saying this is the guitar that Kurt recorded with or this one. I'm not trying to achieve those tones. It's just kind of a feel and an attitude that I have with playing, and I do feel more grungy when I play these sort of guitars. This one is a Fender scale. This one is a Gibson scale. Or is it Fender scale? It's a Jaguar. Yeah, just had to make sure. This one is 24 3/4 inches, which makes it feel very different to this. And I mean, clearly it's a different guitar, and I'm talking absolute rubbish here. However, This does not feel like it's more than twice as expensive, although I paid an amazing amount of money for this guitar because it was used, and I don't think they make this Road Worn series anymore. Great, but the clarity definitely goes to the Eastwood Hi-Flier at this point. And I like that Eastwood have modernized this slightly. So even though it is a fairly faithful recreation of the guitar it's trying to be, it needed some updating and it's got it. For example, the tuners on here are absolutely brilliant. They don't look expensive, but they are squeaky. They are fantastic. It's quite kind of a joy to tune this. And once I'd sorted out that sort of gripping at this bar here, it was absolutely fine, and it's a very reliable guitar. But I know you're probably thinking, does it do more than Nirvana? Well, let's find out. On the board here, I've got the DS1W, of course. Then I've got the Mojo Mojo from TC Electronic, the EHX Big Muff op amp, and the Deep Freeze also. That's a sort of paddy pedal. And the D1 from Walrus Audio. That's a delay. Let's try a bit of Mojo Mojo. It is kind of jumping out in that high end still. It's a very riffy guitar, and quite funky. Anyway, let's go back to the Mojo Mojo and flip between these pickups. The neck pickup, when you put any kind of drive on it, instantly goes to this kind of fuzzy sort of sound, which is great because it means I can actually put some fuzz on and get double the fuzz. Pretty sure that's how it works. Right, let's go bridge first. Ooh! I haven't even touched the tone knob and it already jumps that high frequencies down. Getting a bit microphonic, which is fun. That's super fun. I don't know, that's kind of swampy, but full on. That is a sound that I could certainly waste a lot of our time on. I'm coming back to that at some point in the future. I'll move on now. Let's move on to some more clean, but with a delay. And notice I'm not tuning. I think the middle position might be the most universally friendly setting on here. However, in that bridge setting, it's definitely going to cut through a mix. And if you're playing just like a stripped down band setting, stick it on the neck and you've got a lot of a Laura tone. I want to do something. I want to play it more. Let's have a little look inside that control cavity because I think it's going to be fairly basic, but we've got to see about the build quality because there's a few things I've picked up on that aren't perfect, but are kind of acceptable so far. Let's have a look under the hood. Here it comes. There. Right. So no surprise there. The same kind of switches and knobs that you get in every guitar, let's say sub 1,000 maybe-ish. So they're budget, they work, they're small parts. You've got a capacitor and an output jack that is fine. There's not too much cable going on there. There's a little bit of wood just here. What I did like is when I unscrewed it, the wood was not soft. It's a good hard wood that will screw back in. So if you're one for taking your pick guard off and on, you won't end up making bigger holes. Let's find out. Oh dear. I just did I do that? I hope I did that. If I didn't, then we got loose wire in here. I must have done that. Oh, I must have pulled it out there. Oh, bum. Well, you know more than me because you were watching that bit and I wasn't. So I don't know how that happened, but now we have a ground wire that's come out. I've broke the guitar. Oh dear. Right, I'm gonna have to fix that soon. Not now. Let's test to see if that's conductive paint or just a paint job. So that's connecting, and then what we got coming up on that screen? It's kind of conductive, or is it because I took that? Oh no! It's a little conductive, but not. It is. It's just not maximum conductiveness, conductivity. Put my arm over the gauge. There we go. Yeah, I mean it's there. It's helping. It's not doing the best job. Now let's see about the output of these pickups. So I will gingerly place that back in the right place. Oh no, around that way, and plug it in. Maximum volume, maximum tone. And the bridge is 8.03. The middle position is 3.88. And the neck is 7.42. They feel a lot higher output. Maybe it's because they're actually really close to the strings. So I think that could be it. They feel quite raspy. They do sound great, in my opinion. Now, I haven't fixed the wire because it would require taking the bridge off and reseating that. That's a real shame because up until that point, I couldn't really fault this guitar. And to defend it, I don't think many people or most people are going to be taking off that pick guard. However, if you're playing and the earth wire comes out of underneath there, that's going to be a big problem. So anything I say from now on, please take into account the fact that the earth wires come off there, or the ground wire, depending on where you're from. It is fixable. It's a small thing. It is a thing. Let's weigh it, because it is super light. Okay, we are looking at kilos, 3.2 kilos, which in pounds is almost, it's exactly 7 pounds, according to that. And that is super light, but not in a bad way. It does feel very comfortable on the leg and that sort of general area. It's time for the strap test. Firstly, does it fit the strap? It does. That's a good sign. And then these seem nicely seated. Let's put it on. Standy up. Bit of neck dive. In fact, we can make it a bit longer. It would have been longer in the 90s. Perfectly comfortable. And that German carve there gives it not like a carve like you have on a Strat where it curves over, but it's nice that it's kind of tactile. I like the way it feels on my forearm, which might be a weird thing to say, but it's not like a telly where it's like ka-dunk, ka-dunk, and it feels like what it looks like. There's a bit there. If you had an itch, you could scratch it on the guitar. That's what I'm trying to say. But there's no danger of you knocking it there. I'm absolutely enamored by this guitar. I am sad about the earthwire thing. I will fix that. If you ignore that, this is a great guitar at the price. It would be an even better guitar if it were slightly cheaper. And I know the prices do fluctuate a little bit, but I think the reason this one is, I think it's $699. In fact, let me check that. Sorry, it's $649 on the website. And it would be closer to $499 if there weren't so many sort of custom things on it, in the sense that this is not a Strat copy, it's not a Tele copy, it is a guitar copy that is slightly more unusual. Therefore, it needs to have different routing rigs and different things going on. It's not just a Strat neck that's thrown on there, or a Tele neck. There's this angle here. There's a lot about this guitar that you can't just take off a low-priced model that's copying Fender, for example, or a Gibson or anything like that, any other model. So everything here does seem to feel custom for the guitar. And it's not perfect. There's a bit of a paint issue there where the neck joint is, and it's not bad. It's just you could easily chip that off. It's just basically because there's almost no wood there. It's just, it's thin and it's chipped a little bit. It's not enough to make me dislike the guitar, but if you were buying a Strat copy at this price, it probably wouldn't have that. You really need to like the shape of the guitar and like the sounds of this guitar in order to buy it. And if you're watching, squeaky, it's so clean. If you're watching this far, you probably do, because other people that don't, that just want their meat and potatoes guitars, would not have clicked this video. The final thing I want to say is the neck is somewhere between a wide C and a wide D. So there's enough of it, but it's not thick and it's not thin. It's dangerously close to being a modern C, which I don't like. But because it feels wider, it feels like there's more of it. There's definitely more of a shoulder there, more of a hump. So I'd say it's like a 60s C. Well, that's it. This is available from the link in the video description and at the top of the comments section. If you want one, go and get one there. They are often sold out, but you can pre-order. This isn't a unique guitar in terms of sounds, although those pickups are super punchy and super clear and would definitely cut through a mix. It is, however, unique in looks. Or not unique, but special. And if you like the looks, if you like the sounds, and you don't want something that's meat and potatoes guitar, then this is a great one to go for. It is a bit more spending on a guitar than you would if you bought a regular shaped guitar, because it's so strange looking, and strange in a good way. Thank you to Eastwood for sending this out for review. There's the subscribe button. Please use it, because about 80% of you don't. And it would really give the channel a boost. Thanks very much. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye!